Hi, it's Margaret, and thank you so much for joining me here on the Gardening Me. Today, I'm at Canadian Tire, and the purpose for this trip is actually to buy some seed potatoes. But I figured since I was here, I would take you inside and we can do a little tour of the garden center too. The thing with Canadian Tire, it is kind of like an all-purpose store. So they have everything from small appliances to dishware to paint to hardware. They also have an auto center, and I think that's how they started, and that's where that whole Canadian Tire name comes from. But really, the auto center is just a small part of everything they have. This is usually where I get my Pro Mix, both the seed starting mix and the potting soil. I get my manure here. They are fully stocked, and yeah, every year this is kind of my go-to spot for those type of things. But today I'm actually don't need any amendments. Today I'm going here to the garden center. I thought I would do a little tour of the center just to show you what it's like. It is not very big. It is actually quite small, but there are sometimes, some finds that you can get in here. And I'm not sure what it's going to be like this year, but I figured let's go in and take a look around. Now, all of the different Canadian Tire stores have slightly different garden centers, but they're more or less, similar. This particular one has only 3 aisles, and you may think, well, with 3 aisles, how much can there be in there? But there's actually quite a large variety of plants. It's quite surprising. They have annuals and perennials, vegetables, herbs, shrubs, roses, even a few trees. Now, they don't have anything overly exotic or different, but they do have many of the most popular varieties. And the big bonus here is that their prices are really, really reasonable, especially these days when it seems as if prices everywhere have gone way up. Canadian Tire actually has a great stock of garden supplies like hoses and tools and all that kind of stuff that they stock year-round inside the store. But the outdoor portion of the garden center, which is only open during the gardening season, that's where they put all of their plants, and they also have a small selection of other garden-related supplies, such as trellises and pots and seeds. So they had a great selection of perennials in these little kind of 3-inch pots, I would say. They were $3.50 each. They had a bunch of different sedums and helenium, coreopsis, Shasta daisies, dianthus, some phlox and Jacob's ladder, some yarrow, foxgloves and columbine. Some really pretty heucheras. They also had perennials for $8.99 in gallon pots, which again is a really good price. Here's a bunch of Dracaena spikes, and these were $3.69 for a 3-inch pot or so. They had a lot of different daylily varieties. $9 for a gallon pot. They had some rudbeckia and some phlox in gallon pots as well. $6.89 for 5-inch pots of petunias. There were a bunch of bushel and berry pots with blueberries and raspberries and blackberries. Some cute calibrachoa, and a variety of different potted dahlias. They also had a nice rack of different vegetables, $2.79 a pot. And there was quite a good selection of herbs as well, including sage, lemon balm, thyme. And little potted strawberries as well. They had a really good selection of hydrangeas, including some of the most popular varieties like Bobo and Little Quickfire and Little Lime. And they did have Limelight hydrangea, which is probably one of the most popular varieties out there. They had this berry white hydrangea that looked interesting. It was 6 to 7 feet tall, but only 4 to 5 feet wide, so it would do really well in tight spaces. Then they had a bunch of ivory halo, variegated dogwood, and of course the obligatory couple of racks of arbs. And there's also a few junipers at the back there. Here's a bunch of Annabelle hydrangeas, and they're looking really, really good. And for $21.99, that is an awesome size. They also had some climbers in a separate section. There was a few varieties of clematis, some honeysuckle, and some climbing roses. They had a few different varieties of Rose of Sharon and some peonies and a few different kinds of roses, including knockout roses and drift roses. They also had some Deervilla, and that's actually a shrub I don't really see very much around here. And I do have one in the garden, and I really, really love it. It has these beautiful yellow flowers on it, but really the showstopper for this shrub is the foliage. It's just gorgeous. They also had a couple of different types of weigela. One of them was spilled wine, which I also have in the garden. Again, the leaves are gorgeous on that one. And they also had the very popular variegated My Monet. This, though, is why I came here, for the potatoes. They have a bunch of different varieties of seed potatoes, and each year it kind of switches it up a little bit. They had Norland, and then a few that I've never heard of before, including Warba and Gourmandine and Red Apple. They also have onion sets. Now, I don't grow onions from sets. I prefer growing them from seed. But if you do want to grow them from sets, most of the time you will go out and see two types. You got your white onions, you got your red onions, and that's about it. You have absolutely no idea what variety they are. And here I noticed that they actually tell you what variety the onions are on the bag, which I love. I don't know if I've actually ever seen that before in onion sets that you get at the store. They also have strawberries as well, Ozark Beauty, and they also carried rhubarb. I decided to go with Warba. It says it's a great heirloom variety that's early maturing. Never tried it before, so I decided that that was the one I was going to give a go to this year. Then I decided to go back and get a few other things. I love sedums, so a few of those ended up in my cart. And I was really drawn to the Creeping Baby's Breath. It's a Zone 4 perennial, full sun, blooms in May and June. And then I went back to the hydrangea section because even though I do have quite a few different hydrangeas, maybe 5 or 6, one of the ones that I don't have is one of the most popular hydrangeas out there, and that is limelight. And at only $22, I thought it was a no-brainer. I was going to finally get it into my garden. Then, when I was looking at the hostas, there was such a pretty hosta called Hans. Look at the variegation on that with the light green and the cream and the crinkly leaves. And I don't know, I was so tempted, and I just kept looking at it and looking at it. And then I thought, you know what? I think I'm going to get it. In here, this I actually started doing a little while ago, and it's super handy. So I have, you know how you get these really huge bags sometimes? I have these from Costco. I also have a couple from Walmart, I think. And I generally don't use them to go shopping, I find, because they're kind of too big. But they're amazing when I don't want to get the tarp out. Like if I have a ton of plants, I'll get a tarp to put it back here. But if I just have a few plants, I put them in here. And one of the big benefits of that as well is then they don't tip over, right? You don't have to worry about kind of wedging them in so that they don't tip over when you're driving around. So let's get this filled up. You can see this is not my first shopping trip this year. Right in the corner there. And these little guys. I still can't believe that these were only $3.50 and they're perennials. So I've never had these in my garden. I have no idea how they're going to do in my garden, but for $3.50, hey, why not? I am planning on doing a little tiny rock garden this year. That's the plan anyway. And I thought these would fit in perfectly with that. One more of those. And a couple of sedums. And sedums are so easy to take cuttings from that I'm only getting one of each, and then I'll probably be doing some cuttings. And that's it. Look at this. Perfect. And now, what I actually came here for, my potatoes. Anyhow, now I got to put the cart back, but that is it for today. Thanks so much for joining me here, and we'll see you next time. Bye.